Hey friends, this is Miss Stapp with a quick video here for 10th grade. It's January 21st and 22nd, and I wanted to walk you through what we are doing today. So looking at the calendar, I have up the 21st. I'm going to pull up all my little tabs. There's several things here, I know, but you can see that we have a PFL for today, which is in class, and I've asked students to do that first, followed up by something you were supposed to turn in at the beginning of class, a little reminder that you should be submitting B1 written report so that friends can assess it for you. And then there is that peer assessment piece that you are supposed to upload. I forgot to remind my students to do that. Please don't forget, upload your peer assessment that was given to you in class. Okay. If you are absent, you will have the assignment task right there and just fulfill everything that it says in that assignment. So, in-class supervisor letter. If you've been paying attention to the deadlines, you notice something that I overlooked. I apologize. It says here for January 15th, students show finalized product outcome and process journal. Upload to ManageBack evidence of product outcome as well as a link to images of their process journal. I asked for at least 3 images from your process journal that show things that you think now are going to be important and that you're going to include in your appendix. So a great thing to put there are maybe your planning, like your Gantt chart or checklist or timeline, potentially your criteria and what you created those on, and a rubric that shows how important they are. And maybe if you have a written process journal, maybe a piece from that as well. So those are all great pieces of evidence. It can be a combination of things that are written on a physical journal and things that you've been collecting in notebook. And that's perfectly fine to have that hybrid type journal. And that's how a lot of us are living right now. So you're going to have 3 different images of key pieces of evidence that you intend to use in your appendix. And you're going to upload those to ManageBack under this PFL. The other thing that you are going to do is make sure that you have a proof of your product. So your product might be your goal, outcome, and then this proof can be a link to a video. It can be an MP4 if it's small enough to be uploaded to ManageBack. It can be photos. For instance, one of my students has a physical product and he was just going to take a photo of it. It can be a website link. It can be whatever shows evidence that you have done this project. So I don't need it to be something new that you have created. Don't spend a lot of time on this, but probably bits and things that you've been collecting. If you did something like an event, photos, and maybe a brief paragraph about it, whatever you feel like is appropriate to show your product. Okay, you are going to create an email. So a student here has a PFL and it says supervisor email. I've created a generic email and I think I even have a typo in it. So you need to go use that to help design an email that you send to your supervisor. Right now it says, Dear Personal Project Supervisor, before you sign my academic honesty form, it's important that you have evidence of my product outcome and see some key samples from my process journal. Okay. Please see the links at the bottom of the page or attached to this email. So you can use that if you like. If you want to edit that to make it appropriate exactly for your supervisor, it's always nice to use their name. Perchance you did not attach something to this email, you have put your link on this page, then you can edit that sentence to say that. I also end with thank you. Let me know if you have questions or concerns respectfully, and then do put your name in the bottom of that email. Now, for this PFL, I need you to take an image of this email with the attachments. You don't have to CC me on this email, just send it to your supervisor and let me know if you have a problem with finding that address. But you do take an image of the email and you need to upload that to ManageBack. 2, please include on ManageBack an upload of that proof of product. So if you had images or if it was a video or if it was a paragraph, upload that to ManageBack as well. 3, you have 3 images from your process journal. Upload 1, 2, all three of those images. Okay? You can certainly put this on a document and upload it all at once, and I would be fine with that. Make it as easy as possible on yourself. But if I do not see this toward the end of class on ManageBack as a PFL, I will start hounding you every class until you get it in. And your supervisor is supposed to understand that they do not sign the academic honesty form until they see your proof of product. Okay? So that is that assignment. And I'm going to move along. I did want to tell you, make sure if you are attending class that you show up with the written report section that is expected. I had a student today that had just written a little bit and got into the room with their teammate, and the teammate had done their report. The teammate did not get the peer feedback that they hoped because they were helping the other person write their report. So please prioritize. Make sure that if you get into a room, the first thing you do is do an assessment of the written report. Okay? If you are the one that did not write your report, you have to wait. Okay? You need to help that person that was prepared for class and do your best. That will also help you maybe formulate some ideas that you need to take into your written section. Okay. So 1, get into the room, be ready for the peer assessment, and to show your report to that person that you're working with. Okay. Do your peer assessment. Look at their written report, give them high quality feedback. Then if you still need time to write or to get extra help from that person, that's what you do. All right, so advocate for yourself. If you're all done and your partner still has a little bit to do, you can help them after you get your assessment. All right, let's look at B2 and B3. This is what we are writing for today. Okay. Present a detailed and accurate plan and record of the development process of the product or project. So I hope you have created some kind of plan. That Gantt chart is set up to have dates for you and have your objectives broken down and in a certain prioritized order. Okay, and it's really nice to be able to use that in your appendix. If you didn't use a Gantt chart, hopefully you had a timeline, a checklist, or some other method of breaking up those tasks that you needed to do. Okay, your plan should include short and long-term planning broken down into steps, a focus on your project, and specific dates. Okay, these are all things that you can talk about, and B2 might be pretty short, especially if all of that is in a Gantt chart, and you can just say, see appendix. Okay. You will make sure that somehow in the written portion, you talk about how it's detailed and accurate, how there's a record of the development process, and how that was important to this project as you worked through. The record of the development process includes things that you put in your process journal, changes you made, ideas you had, anything that helped you as you went along. So I know it's been hard to get you guys to just put in things off and on. Usually I remind you that you should be putting things into your process journal. And that's because everybody's project is different. So what you might need to put or the evidence that you put in the process journal is different for all of us. Definitely a timeline and a plan is important, but other things might be different depending on your project. So oftentimes mine looks like journal entries where I record changes that happened and why I needed to make those changes as I went along. Other things that might have been in my process journal around this plan were evidence of the meetings that I had set up with my supervisor and interviews and so forth, because I kept those on its own little calendar. So I might just take an image of that and put that in my appendix as well. And that would be a nice piece of your development process. Okay, you can read this exemplar here. Do keep in mind, and I've told this to many students, that this exemplar may not be great. I think B2 is pretty short and sweet, and that's kind of how this is written. But the way we really grade and judge how well a report is written, in fact, in each strand in particular, is by looking at this rubric and lining it up against what we see in the report. B3, demonstrate excellent self-management skills. So some important things you might think about putting in this paragraph are strengths and limitations for effective and independent time and task management, the effective skills, I'll show you where those are, and effective use of any other self-management ATLs. Oops, get rid of that while I finish up. Sorry about the interruption. And you are going to find those in the resources under ATLs. Let's take a look. Oh, I went too far. Sorry about that. Here we go. Self-management skills. So we have organizational skills and effective skills. Pick one or two self-management skills to talk about explicitly and give examples for. I did tell the last class they didn't seem to know some of these words. So if you're going to talk about perseverance, make sure you understand the definition of perseverance and you can articulate that in your own words and give examples of perseverance in particular. Not just take a guess at what you think it means. And like what some of my students did last year said, I demonstrated perseverance during this project. And that was it. Give examples and explain resilience, self motivation, emotional management, perseverance, or mindful awareness. Choose one of those and write about it. Demonstrate how that helped you throughout, or maybe you developed that throughout your project. It's the same with managing time and tasks effectively. If you are going to talk specifically about planning short and long term assignments and meeting deadlines, just like it advised you to in that rubric, perfect. Pull that out, use those words exactly, and then make sure you talk about it. You can say see appendix for the plan specifically, but talk about how this plan helped you through the entirety of your process in that little report section. It doesn't have to be very long. A bulk of the words can actually be in see appendix and be made up by us looking at the evidence that you put there. Okay? That's what I have. Make sure you upload the feedback for each class in ManageBack that you receive, as well as the report that you need. And that will be due, I believe, next time. So look at ManageBack. I do keep looking at these. I would like to see how you are learning and growing as you continue writing this report. And I will give you feedback when I have the opportunity. Have a great day, and I'll talk to you all soon.